What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Game On Improve Your Health podcast. My name is Austin J, or hallucinodream if you know me from the gaming community, and tonight we are joined by an incredibly special guest, my lovely wife and co-host, Christina. Thank you for joining us again tonight.
You're so welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. At least it's not your pleasure this time.
No,
And tonight
it's
we are...
not my pleasure.
Perfect. And tonight we are talking about fasting, what breaks a fast, and tips to get started on your fasting journey. Now, fasting has quite a bit of different benefits. Let me start out, before I go any further, by saying a disclaimer that we are not medical professionals. We're not physicians, nutritionists, or anything of the sort. So take what we say with a grain of salt. What we say is anecdotal and research-based. Okay, so fasting does have a whole slew of benefits. I'm not going to touch on every single benefit because there's so many, but some of the biggest ones for the reasons for people to fast are weight loss, right, to help with weight loss.
Or weight management.
Weight management is even a better term, right?
Mm-hmm.
Metabolism, hormone regulation, blood glucose levels, blood pressure, and of course reducing cortisol, right? We have a whole episode on that, as well as some other things. Those are some of the big ones, some of the big benefits. So that is, and fasting, for those who might not know, fasting is basically just, there's a couple definitions, or really people's intake on what fasting actually is and what breaks a fast, which is why we'll get into that. But fasting is generally the time that you stop eating at night and then you start eating the next day, right? So my wife and I here, or Christina, I'll just say Christina, whatever, we...
I prefer to be called your lovely wife.
Your lovely wife here.
The only time.
Okay, I'll say your lovely wife. Your lovely wife here. We try to fast for 12 to 15 hours. That's what I do. I think she does the same, right? You do?
Yeah, I do normally about 12. I don't do more than 12 often, but I'll normally do at least 12.
Yeah, so we go about 12 hours of a fast, and then once that fast is broken, we eat up until dinner time, and dinner varies really a lot, actually, and so we add the 15. I try to add the best that I can, 15 on top of that.
Yeah. So what time did we stop eating?
We stopped eating around 7:30 or so, right? Or 7, sorry.
No, it was, you didn't get done class until 7:30, so
perfect. So
almost 8 o'clock.
What's time? What is time? So we wow. Anyways, today's a blur.
Way off.
So we stopped eating at 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you add 12 to that, which is 8, and then add 3, which is 11. So tomorrow I probably won't be eating until 11. Now there are times where we obviously break our fast earlier than that. We try to make 12 the minimal.
Mm-hmm.
For me, there's individual variances. Everybody's different. Females to males are also different. So keep that in mind. The males will be affected differently than the females. Obviously, there is different stuff internally going on with the two, right? So we'll break our fast sometimes, usually on like weekends or something, a little earlier.
Or like if we Friday night we watch our Hallmark murder mysteries. That's our Friday night jam.
Highly recommended. You'd be surprised.
Yeah. And so, say we want to have a snack while we're watching them, at 9 or 10 o'clock, which is obviously a lot later than we normally eat. But we know we're going to be up watching a movie, so maybe we eat around 9 or 10. So, and then, the baby wakes us up at the crack of friggin' dawn. And, now we're hungry. So, sometimes we break it, but normally, I swear, I blink and it's like been 15 hours since I ate last. So
yeah, once you get into a routine, it becomes a routine. So it's not as difficult. It is pretty difficult to start, especially if you're used to eating late at night and then just waking up and eating right off the bat, or drinking, and we'll get into what breaks a fast soon here, or drinking coffee with creamer and sugars and all that stuff that you might want to put inside of it.
My biggest thing is like always like I'm just such like a mental like person. Like when I change my workout routine, if I change my eating habits, if I try to fast, like all my stuff is just like mental. Like where because I told myself I wasn't going to eat for 12 hours, at 10 hours I was starving. Like I've never been hungry before, but now all of a sudden because I told myself I wasn't going to eat, I got starving. So there's definitely a mental component to everything. But once you get into a routine, just like Austin said, it just becomes like part of your everyday.
Yeah, and just like everything else we say, you really should start slow, right? So you don't have to jump directly to 12 or 15 hours. If you, again, are one of those people who eat late at night and then eat early in the morning or break your fast early in the morning with a coffee or anything, really, just start at 8 hours, right? And then build up. Once you're able to do that for a couple weeks or a month, then go to 10 hours, right? Just add 2 extra hours. You'd be surprised how fast those 2 hours will go. And then after that, go to 12. And again, be careful. It's different. All individual variances. There's variances between male and female. So you just want to be careful. If you really, aren't comfortable or don't, have all the information that you need, don't turn to the internet, but go to your family doctor or go to a nutritionist, right? They'll be able to help you. We've said this again, too. A nutritionist will be able to help you. Sometimes they even do consults for free, right? Mm-hmm. There's an episode where Christina touched on the fact that she did that, and she did get a consult. And then she ended up talking to a nutritionist a couple different times because the information there was very beneficial. But generally, you can just, or what we did was just feel it out, right? So it was harder at the beginning to start fasting because I was just so used to eating, right? Before we go any further, let's talk about what breaks the fast. A lot of people have different takes on what actually breaks the fast. Some people, upon doing quite a bit of research, some people say that anything with calories in it will break a fast. And then some people will say, well, it's not the calories, it's if it has fats in it, or it's not the fats, it's the carbs, or it's a combination of sugars. And so everybody's take is different. I just make sure my personal opinion is, and you can do some research as well, and you can determine, which one actually, fits for you. But I just have a clean slate. So I don't eat anything, no calories, no fats, nothing. It's just water or coffee, because there's black coffee. We don't put any creamer, we don't put any sugar in our coffee. Thanks to Christina here, I didn't used to do that. I used to.
Oh gosh, yeah, I used to drink like
3/4 creamer,
like
1/4
French vanilla creamer or something.
Yeah, 3/4 creamer, 1/4 coffee. So. And then I would add about a gallon of sugar on top of it. So you can imagine how wired I probably actually was in the morning. But, so we generally in the morning I'll wake up, drink some coffee, wait until the time that I'm supposed to. Now, keeping yourself busy will help with the fast. I can tell you there's bunch of times where I am not as busy and my mind is I'm just realistically lately, because I'm in the house, if I stand around in the kitchen, I get more hungry, right? It kind of makes sense. All the food is around, everything is there, especially if somebody was making something, then the smell is there. But at work, back when I used to work as well, if I was on a job site that was being delayed and I was just sitting in my van, not the best scenario, right? Because now I'm just sitting there, not really doing very much. What can I do to pass the time? Eat. Subconsciously, I'm gonna probably want to eat, right? Even if I'm not even thinking about the fact that I'm hungry. So just try to keep yourself busy, and
especially from like working from home. I feel like a lot of people, if you are still working from home, it's so much easier, right? Because like now you have all of this food at your fingertips where you didn't before.
Yeah.
Where maybe you used to have to go and buy a lunch, or maybe you used to pack a lunch, you kind of had to like prep a little bit, and then you only had what you brought, right? Or then you had to go out and get something. So that always normally stops me from like eating junk that I wouldn't normally eat, is like the thought of when I'm at work of like having to go out to get something, right? But like when you're at home, you more than often buy things that you want to eat throughout the day. So, that's definitely something to be mindful of. When pretend like you're at work, like pretend like you're, in that same environment, I think would be, of course, it's easier said than done, but, it would definitely be helpful to try to get back into that mindset.
Yeah, and if you're, because a lot of people are because of the pandemic, and a lot of people have transitioned into stay-at-home jobs, but if you are, let's say you are at home and maybe it's a slower day and you don't really have that much work at work, find a chore around the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Find something that maybe you need to get done and you haven't in a while. I could find a million of those because I always push everything back, but because I'm too busy eating, if you're wondering. But find something to do that needs to be done around the house. Just, knock that off the list, and hopefully that takes up enough time to be able to, where you can break your fast.
Slowly.
Do it very slowly, unless it's something you can't do very slowly, right? So another thing you can do, and this is backed by quite a bit of science. I don't have any links off the top of my head, obviously, but if you, this is controversial, but it is backed by science. So, take that with a grain of salt, of course, but
don't take the grain of salt, because that will break your fast.
That might break your fast, depending on who you talk to. Working out or doing your cardio right in the morning, right? So if let's say you do have a slow day, let's say your fast, you wake up and your fast is able to be broken only a couple hours after you wake up. Do your workout. Do a cardio session right when you wake up. That will help kickstart, burning of more fat, right? And weight regulation and building some muscle. I mean, this is what benefits will come from it is a little bit individualized, right? Some people, I have a harder time working out fasted and running fasted than I do with actual fuel. So, and there are some people who just have a grand old time doing it. But it will start burning fat, especially if you have, X amount of time under your belt already fasted, because then you've burned up those, you've burned up the carbs that you may have.
Yeah, because your body really has nothing new to take from. So like if you had just eaten and then you go work out, then your body's of course going to start.
Its first burning form of fuel would be carbohydrates, right? So if you burn that overnight and during your fast, and then working out, whatever you deplete, it'll start helping with burning fast. So there's a lot of people who will say that is actually a very good benefit. There's some science that backs it up. There's a lot of anecdotal backups for that. So that's something you can do as well to help, and that'll keep your mind off eating, right? Because you're working out.
I had to work up to it. I used to not be able to work out fasted at all. Like I would literally get nauseous if I worked out, when I woke up, if I worked out fasted. So it's definitely something that you might have to work into. So, maybe don't start off doing cardio, right? So like if you're starting to fast, maybe don't do cardio the first workout. Like, cause for me, cardio was always really hard. Fast, I always got nauseous. So maybe just trying some, like light weights, just like maybe a lighter workout, take it easy, to just kind of like start building your body up to it.
Yeah, light weights, light body weight workouts. We have a whole episode on that. Resistance bands. Just feel out what you can do fasted. Don't go overboard, because you will be at, really individualized, but generally you'll be at a little bit less of, energy because of the fuel.
Yeah,
right?
Like don't fast for the first day. Try to fast for 15 hours and then lift the heaviest you've ever lifted.
Yeah, you don't want to go from 0 to
1,200. Probably not the best idea. We're not, we're not nutritionists. Is that what they're called? Yeah, not nutritionists.
Nutritionists, dietitians,
yeah,
or
but it doesn't take a genius to figure out that that's
rocket
probably
scientists.
not. Yeah, that's probably not the best idea. So.
Yeah. So another benefit actually is improvements on cognitive function as well. Sorry. Which is something...
You need to improve your cognitive
I know,
function.
holy
Jeez,
moly.
You can't even say the word.
I know, it feels like it's 12... It feels like it's midnight.
I know, it does.
I feel like we've been up for 4 days straight. But, yeah, so... One of the things we do, and it's a little... the schedule's a little crazy lately, like I said. But one of the things we try to do is try to keep on a schedule. So, like, we try to eat around the same time every night so that the fast is the same time every night.
Yeah.
Having a schedule will help. There are some people who definitely can't keep a schedule, but if you if you determine even just that day, like, oh, I'm going to start the fast this day, at this time, and I'm going to break my fast at this time tomorrow, that will help, as opposed to just saying, oh, I'm just going to do it for 15 hours, and then whenever that happens. That's probably has a pretty high failure rate. Breaking your fast, right? You want to break your fast with healthy foods, right? Because if you break your fast with, I've done this before. I'm going to tell you a story. I fasted a couple of stories actually. I fasted, well, twice. Okay, we'll go for. I have some good stories. Let's go. I fasted for 24 hours. I think the first time ever when my baby was born. Right. 24 hours.
Oh
and
yeah,
then
just kind of
broke.
like accidentally.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about it, right? Because I started fasting the night before. I didn't even think about it, but we went in at like 7 in the morning or whatever, and I don't eat that early. I didn't even think about it, and she wasn't gonna be hungry, right? She's over here giving birth, like she doesn't want to eat nothing. So I'm like, no. So nobody's thinking about food, of course.
Yeah. I was the whole time. I was thinking about what the fuck are they gonna feed me after this?
Yeah, hospital food.
I know, it was awful.
But
whatever.
Yeah, so 24-hour fast, and then I broke the fast with hospital food. I'm telling you, my glucose spiked so high. My baby was there. She was screaming because she's never seen Earth before. My wife's over here like, is she alive? Or because she doesn't have any energy, right? From giving birth and stuff. And I'm like, in a food coma because I broke my fast with some food I definitely should not have, especially a very, very long fast.
Yeah.
I've done this before as well with about an 18 to 20-hour fast with Chick-fil-A. Not a good idea, okay?
Oh,
Chick-fil-A
we did that the one day. It was awful.
I felt awful the whole rest of the day.
Yeah. It was
Into
terrible.
the night. Into the night.
Yeah, into the night.
And so break your fast with something, something hearty, something good for you. Like my best breaking of a fast is oatmeal. I get steel cut oats. I put some blueberries in there, some almond milk, and crushed walnuts, and
cinnamon.
Sometimes cinnamon, but I've been off the cinnamon for a while. I've been putting
chocolate,
honey.
Oh,
honey. No chocolate. Chocolate was too unsaturated fat. I found out that was negatively affecting me. Doing it every day, by the way, not periodically. But I put honey in there, and it does taste amazing, even though it's very minimal ingredients in there, and you get good benefits like that. So it's low glycemic from the oats. It keeps you full, satiated. There's antioxidants from the blueberries in there.
From the blueberries.
The blueberries. And there's walnuts.
He hangs out with the baby too much.
Yeah,
he can't even speak
She
real
can speak better
English
than me. Walnuts
anymore.
are good for you. So, break your fast with something nutritious, something that's gonna give you energy, but not spike your glucose and then make you crash. Try to avoid sugars. Natural sugars are fine. Added sugars, try to avoid anything with added sugars, and try to avoid putting. Everybody drinks different coffees, right? But if you can, try to at least minimize some of the sugar and the creamer that you put in there, because that will obviously spike your glucose and help you crash too.
And a lot of people just don't even think about it. So today, because my coworker that I share an office with is Irish, and so we were like St. Patty's everything today, and we broke our fast with green donuts and Irish cream cold brew coffee from Starbucks. So not the best fast breaking today. But normally,
It does sound pretty
it
good,
was
though.
really good. But normally, I will just try to drink black coffee. But then if I do want like a latte or something, I just do unflavored latte like with coconut milk. And then I just like have them put cinnamon on top. So it just like helps you. It does give it like a little bit of flavor. And the coconut milk is kind of naturally a little bit sweeter. It's normally just an unsweetened drink. So, people just don't even realize how many calories are in like a Starbucks coffee, that they drink, or how
It is
many
a lot.
carbs. Like there's just a ton of stuff in, some of these drinks that you don't even think about. So,
Yeah, I think the one Starbucks, and I only really drink the Starbucks when pumpkin spice comes out, because pumpkin spice is life, by the way. But I did look at the nutrition facts on that,
Yeah.
and I do get the very largest one because it's pumpkin spice, obviously.
Yeah.
And just the amount of everything's incredibly high. I'm not even going to go over it, but the sugar
Yeah.
itself is like 50 grams
And
or
of course,
55
he
grams.
dunks his pumpkin loaf probably in the pumpkin spice.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So.
Of course, with my pumpkin spice cookies and my
Yeah.
pumpkin spice flavored straw that's
Yeah.
edible. But yeah, so just being, aware of really what that's another part of fasting is, working on your nutrition at the same time. And hopefully the fasting will transition into working on nutrition, even if it's just for breakfast. If you change your breakfast because you are used to eating sugar-packed cereal, but you stop, you might start feeling like much better, and then maybe that'll transition into changing, maybe I'm going to change my lunch too. Instead of going out and ordering every day, maybe I'm going to make something for myself. And, it's just,
It can just help jumpstart.
Yeah. It's a cascade effect. It's a chain effect, whatever the word I'm looking for.
Waterfall effect.
It's a waterfall, yeah, of positivity. And one other thing I wanted to say, I think I wanted to say this earlier, but because Christina said we sometimes watch our Hallmark murder mysteries and we eat
This
pretty
is a
late.
Hallmark plug. No.
Yeah, no. Continue watching Hallmark. It's great stuff. We make sure that we cut our eating still at least 2 hours before we go to bed, because you want to make sure that you are able to digest the food before you lay down, because that'll slow down your digestive.
Make your tummy hurt.
It'll make you feel full when you wake up, and
It also could,
over
like, if you
hungry
find,
and-
if you find like you're not sleeping well, but like you eat really close to bed, that could be why. Like, because you can't fall asleep because you're trying to digest and maybe you're uncomfortable. So,
Yeah, it is known to affect sleep, including deep sleep. And some people might not even realize that when you fall asleep, you might not actually really be asleep. You might be in a light sleep, which isn't. You want to get into it's called the REM cycle. You want to get into your deep sleep. I did research on it. I forget, maybe 3 hours a night, which sounds like it's not that much, but it actually is pretty difficult to hit your deep sleep. And a lot of stuff that you do right before bed really does affect that, and eating is one of them.
Yep.
Right. So you want to try not to eat 2 hours before going to bed, because it will help you sleep a little better.
Yeah. Biggest tip, I think, if you're starting out, try to cut your eating as early as possible. So, like, if you know that you're somebody that, like, doesn't, or, like, gets up for work early, right? So, like, the days that I go into work earlier, I'm obviously, like, naturally going to get hungrier earlier. So, if I can always cut my eating around, like, 6 or 7, then, by the time I get to work at 9 o'clock, I'm already 14 hours deep, so like I'm already 14 hours, 13, 14 hours in. So, cutting it as early as you can is, I think, the best tip.
Yeah, that does make it a little difficult for the people who are, again, it's all going to be individual, and it's all going to be trial and error, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have to try some things out. And we've said this before too, if you start a fasting routine, you're successful the first 2 days, you're successful. Let's just say you even aim for 10 hours. You're successful with 10 hours, and the third day you don't do it. That's completely fine.
Yep.
There are days
okay.
there are days where I barely hit my 12-hour mark. Right, and there are days where I haven't, and I've eaten before 12 hours, and it's not the end of the world, right?
Yep.
It's not going to just take it for what it is. Just move forward, do better that day over the next night, and just continue and just remind yourself what your goal is, and just continue.
Yep.
Right. So don't dwell on mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen. We're human.
Yep.
And that will also, that'll help your journey.
Yep.
But yeah, so that is fasting. Unless you have anything else to say, I
think that's a wrap. Now I'm hungry.
I think that's a wrap. Yeah, I'm hungry for wraps. Now you're talking about it. Yeah, we're gonna go eat something. So, anyways, for those who are watching live on Twitch and YouTube, I appreciate you guys watching. Those listening on the podcast platform, thank you for listening. All our links are here on the left for those watching. I totally forgot to say that, but they're in the description on the
left.
On the
I
left,
got it right. Woo!
Yeah, you just said right, and they're in the description. Next week we are going to be in Arizona, so our plan is to, if the internet, I'm going to bring some mobile stuff to do the podcast. If the internet is able to handle us streaming it live, we'll be doing that. If not, we're going to record the episode and then upload it. But it is a question and answer to this episode, so anybody who has questions, send them in. We will answer them regardless if it's live or not. And if any questions come in that day, we'll add them to another episode, which will be our 5th weeks, really. I didn't make that announcement, but 5th weeks will be question and answers and just chat episodes, which there was one this month. So with that, my name is Austin J, or hallucinodream. All my links will be in the description. Joining me is my lovely wife on my left, her right, and co-host Christina. Lost my train of thought again. And thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you guys next week. I will give you the date because I never remember the date. I might as well give you the date before we leave here. Wednesday the 24th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to make that possible because we'll be in Arizona against the time difference. But 7:30, that's our goal, and we hope to see you guys there. So
bye.